Welcome everybody to our podcast, ¿Me estás vacilando? For this episode, we will make you look at the next meal you try with suspicion and fear.
Today, we will explore a case that seems like something out of a medical nightmare, but it's not fiction. It's documented in Cancer Science in the year 2022, and it's also a story witnessed firsthand by one of our friends.
A 10-year-old kid with a rather common infection, apparently inoffensive, Helicobacter pylori.
But something more was hidden behind that bacterium, something that transformed his stomach into his worst enemy.
And he is not alone. There are more cases, more silent victims. Today, we will unravel the story and the science behind the microscopic horror.
He was a 10-year-old boy, previously healthy, but with the symptoms that began insidiously: persistent abdominal pain, loss of appetite, and a fatigue that made him look older than he was.
He lived in a rural area of China, where the prevalence of H. pylori is high. He was not vaccinated, and his diet was low in protein, rich in salt, and cured foods, factors that, according to Lee and et al., increase the risk of gastric damage.
At first, the parents thought it was only a mild case of gastritis, but soon, fear took over. The boy began to vomit blood.
The endoscopic study revealed an ulcer in the gastric entrance. Histological sections showed round cells with displayed nuclei and the clear halo, signaling cells typical of gastric canceroma.
Immunological tests confirmed the presence of Helicobacter pylori, with a chronic inflammatory response and elevated antibodies against bacterial antigens.
The boy reported constant epigastric pain, nausea, and rapid weight loss. Doctors admitted him to the hospital when he began to have gastrointestinal hemorrhages and dark vomit.
So what seemed like a banal infection was, unfortunately, already a metastasis devouring his gastric mucosa.
In a matter of weeks, the signs worsened: severe anemia, ascites, and difficulty feeding. The boy's body began to collapse from the inside.
They ran the immunohistochemistry tests, PCR, and gem sustaining. All of them came back positive for H. pylori. The tumor was classified as a signet ring cell carcinoma, the most aggressive and least differentiated type.
The literature from KISO 2021 that the presence of H. pylori increases the malignancy of a differentiated gastric cancers, promoting p53 mutations and loss of cell adhesion.
The medical team had a dilemma: to remove part of a child's stomach or attempt experimental chemotherapy. The silence of the operating room weighed more than the diagnosis.
They proposed a mixed strategy, eradicating the bacteria and modulating the gastric microenvironment, an attempt to restore its humanity to the stomach.
The H. pylori strain they isolated was expressing the CAG-A protein, a virulence factor that messes with the cellular signaling pathways. And get this, Uremura et al. 2001 had already warned us about it. Persistent infection with CAG-A positive stains increases the risk of gastric cancer by 6 times. How crazy is that?
The boy received triple antibiotic therapy and chemotherapy with fluorouracil ion down sexes, bacterial resistance, and all any immediate hope.
Doctors discussed the use of bacteriophage, viruses that attack bacteria, to eliminate Helicobacter pylori, and reduce inflammatory load. Although still experimental therapies with antimicrobial peptides and fecal microbiota transplantation have shown promising results.
They propose a mixed strategy, eradicating the bacteria and modulating the gastric microenvironment, an attempt to restore its humanity to the stomach.
The boy survived, but his stomach was partially removed. He lives with a liquid diet, constant monitoring, and the shadow of a possible relapse. He said that sometimes he feels something moving inside, as if the bacterium was still breathing within him.
Perhaps it's not just a feeling. Recent biopsies detect residual bacterial DNA. The West is still there.
Helicobacter pylori isn't just a bacterium. It's a reminder of how something so microscopic can completely dominate the human body.
Between horror and science, his story teaches us that every cell, every gene can be a roulette of destiny.
From the child's case to the patients describing to Kiso and Emura, the message is same. Silence infection can transform into tragedy if ignored.
And perhaps in some corner of our stomachs, it is already waiting for its turn.
Thank you for listening. This was ¿Me estás vacilando? Take care of what you can't see.